Off the coast of Nova Scotia lies a small, ordinary-looking island covered in oak trees. For more than 200 years, it has swallowed fortunes, broken men, and taken lives. Somewhere beneath its soil, people believe, lies a treasure so well hidden, so fiercely protected, that no one in over 2 centuries of digging has ever been able to reach it. They have used shovels, steam engines, drills, and millions of dollars. They have moved earth by the ton, and every single time, the island has stopped them cold. 6 men have died trying, and according to an old legend, 1 more must die before the secret is finally given up. This is the story of the Oak Island Money Pit. It began, so the story goes, in the summer of 1795. A teenage boy named Daniel McGinnis rode out to the uninhabited island to explore. In a clearing, he found something strange, a circular depression in the ground, as if the earth had once been dug up and filled back in. And above it, on the branch of an old oak tree, hung an old ship's tackle block. To a boy raised on tales of pirates prowling these very waters, it could mean only one thing. Something had been buried here, and someone had gone to great trouble to hide it. McGinnis returned with 2 friends and began to dig. Just a few feet down, they hit a layer of flagstones, flat stones that did not belong to the island. They kept going. At 10 feet, they struck a platform of solid oak logs set firmly into the walls of the pit. They pried it up and dug on, their excitement building. At 20 feet, another log platform. At 30 feet, another. Every 10 feet, the same deliberate barrier placed by human hands. Whatever lay below had been buried with astonishing effort. But 3 boys with shovels could only go so far. Eventually, the digging stopped. Yet the story of the strange pit spread, and it would draw others back to the island for generations. Years later, a proper company arrived with money and men to finish what the boys had started. They dug past the old platforms and deeper still, past layers of charcoal, putty, and coconut fiber, materials from across the ocean. Then, at around 90 feet, they found something that electrified them. A large flat stone, carved with strange symbols and letters, a message in a code no one could read. Decades later, someone claimed to have deciphered it. The symbols, they said, spelled out a single breathtaking sentence. 40 feet below, 2 million pounds are buried. The diggers pressed on, certain now that they were close. They drove a probe deeper into the pit and struck something hard. A barrier, perhaps a chest, perhaps the vault itself. They decided to rest for the night and break through in the morning. It was a fatal mistake. When they returned at dawn, the pit had filled with 60 feet of water. They bailed frantically. They brought pumps, but the water would not go down. For every bucket they removed, more surged back in. The pit had defeated them completely. It took years to understand why. The money pit was not just a hole in the ground. It was a machine, an ingenious, deadly trap designed to drown anyone who came too close to the prize. Investigators discovered that a beach on the island called Smith's Cove was not natural at all. Beneath its sand lay a vast man-made filter of stone and fiber. From that beach, hidden tunnels ran hundreds of feet inland, straight to the money pit. They were flood channels. The moment diggers got deep enough, they broke the seal and the sea itself rushed in to bury the treasure again. Whoever built this had understood engineering, tides, and human greed. They had turned the ocean into a lock, and only they held the key. This single discovery transformed Oak Island from a simple treasure hunt into something far greater. Because no pirate burying loot in a hurry builds a network of flood tunnels stretching to the sea. This had taken enormous labor, planning, and time. Whatever was down there was worth protecting on a scale almost beyond belief. And so the theories began. Some said it was the plunder of the pirate Captain Kidd, or of Blackbeard, who once boasted he had buried treasure where none but the devil could find it. Others reached higher. Perhaps it held the lost jewels of a French queen, spirited across the ocean as revolution swallowed her kingdom. Some believed it hid the secret manuscripts of a great philosopher, or the sacred relics and gold of the Knights Templar, vanished from history and carried to the New World. No one knew, but every theory agreed on one thing. Whatever waited at the bottom of that pit was one of the greatest hidden fortunes on earth. And so, generation after generation, they came to claim it, and generation after generation, the island took its price. Companies formed, raised fortunes, and poured them into the ground. They sank new shafts beside the original, trying to outflank the flooding. The tunnels collapsed. The money ran out. In one attempt, a boiler burst, scalding the men working the pit. In another, a digger fell to his death. Slowly, the island earned its dark reputation. The pit swallowed not just gold seekers' savings but their lives, and a chilling prophecy took hold among those who knew the island. 7 men would have to die before Oak Island gave up its secret. By the 20th century, the death toll had climbed toward that number, one tragedy at a time. To the superstitious, each loss was proof that the count was drawing closer to its terrible total. Yet still they came, because Oak Island had a way of teasing its hunters just enough to keep them digging. Every so often, the pit gave up a tantalizing clue. Drills brought up fragments of oak, links of gold chain, and a scrap of old parchment with a few inked letters still visible. Proof, believers said, that documents lay preserved somewhere below. Each fragment was electrifying. Each one whispered the same maddening promise. It is real. It is down there. Keep digging. The island drew powerful men into its spell. Among the many who caught the fever was a young American who would one day become president, Franklin Roosevelt. As a young man, he invested in an Oak Island expedition and followed news of the digs for the rest of his life, unable to let the mystery go. He was far from alone. Fortunes were made elsewhere and then poured into that patch of Canadian soil. The island became a graveyard of ambition, littered with the abandoned machinery of those who were sure they would be the ones to crack it. The deeper the hunters dug, the more they destroyed. Shaft after shaft collapsed into one another until no one could even be certain exactly where the original money pit had been. The very ground that held the secret had been churned into a flooded, treacherous maze, as if the island were folding its treasure ever deeper out of reach. In modern times, the hunt has continued with a scale the old diggers could only dream of. Heavy machinery, sonar, cameras lowered into flooded cavities far below the surface. Explorers have reported strange things in those depths, the shape of what might be chests, timbers cut and placed by human hands, carbon dated to centuries ago. Even, some claimed, the image of a severed hand preserved in the black water. Searchers have pulled up hand-wrought spikes, a lead cross of medieval design, and coins older than the country that now surrounds the island. Each find deepens the puzzle without ever solving it. The evidence says again and again that people were here long ago doing something vast and secret. But it never says what, or why, or for whom. And through it all, the water has never surrendered. The same flood traps that beat 3 boys with shovels in the 1700s still defeat modern engineering today. 2 centuries of the finest tools humanity could build, and the trap laid by unknown hands still holds. Whatever they were hiding, they hid it better than almost anything in history. Skeptics offer a colder explanation. Perhaps there was never any treasure at all. Perhaps the pit is a natural sinkhole, the layers a trick of geology, the whole legend, a story that grew hungry and fed on itself. But that cannot easily explain the man-made flood tunnels, the finger drain filter beneath the beach, the worked timbers dated to long before the legend began. Someone built something extraordinary on that island. The only question that has never been answered is the one that matters most. What was worth all of this? Today, the search goes on, more determined than ever, watched by millions. The island has given up spikes and coins and fragments, but never the prize itself. 6 lives, 200 years, and countless fortunes have vanished into that dark and flooded ground. And still, the final chamber remains sealed, guarded by the sea, exactly as its builders intended. Somewhere beneath Oak Island, perhaps, a fortune still waits in the dark, or perhaps only an empty, brilliant trap, laughing at every soul who ever believed the earth would give up its secret.